So, hello students, welcome to lecture number 11. Welcome to lecture number 11 of Introduction to Computer Science. So, today we shall be discussing about network protocols. Okay. So, in the last class, we had a discussion about what is network, what are the different types of networks that we can have. We had discussed about LAN, MAN, WAN, and PAN. Right. So, these are the different types of networks that we have. Now, we shall discuss about what are network protocols and how does it work. Okay, so a network protocol is a established set of rules that determine how data is transmitted between various devices in the same network, right? So what is network protocol? So the word protocol means rules, right? The word protocols means rules. So there are certain pre-established rules or certain guidelines, as you can say, certain guidelines that determine how data is to be transmitted between various devices. Okay, so basically these network protocols are the reason that we can communicate with other people in the world, right? Let me give you a very simple example that you have different like instant messaging services, SMS, right? So there, when you send a message to someone, when the other person receives the message, then we get a delivery report at an instant, right? So how do we get it? Why do we get it? The question is that how do we get it and why do we get it? So we get it because there are certain pre-established rules that are being followed. So those pre-established rules or protocols are known as network protocols. Okay. Without these protocols, we will not be able to communicate. For example, the network protocols are like traffic rules. Okay. So if there are no traffic rules, then obviously there will be a haphazard situation in the road, right? Similarly, in the network, if we don't have protocols, then we will have certain mess ups and the data will not be delivered as it should be. Okay, so network protocols are the reason that we can easily communicate with people all over the world, and they play a critical role in modern day communications. Okay, now who established these rules? Okay, one more thing before proceeding further, I would like to say that neither local area networks nor wide area networks can function without network protocols. Okay, so network protocols are very essential and a must. It is a must for every network to follow certain network protocols without which their functionality will tend to decrease. They will not function as they should, and they will not provide the necessary information that we should have in requisite time. Okay, now the question comes, who established or who defined these protocols? So as you can see, there are certain organizations, for example, the IEEE, IETF, ISO, International Organization Standardization, the International Telecommunications Union, ITU, and World Wide Web, W3C, World Wide Web Consortium. Okay, so these are certain institutes, or these are certain, as you can say, these are certain companies or institutes which come together, or certain organizations which come together to establish a set of protocols or rules that are followed or provided everywhere. Okay, so these network protocols work in similar ways only. Okay, and the details of how the network protocols will work is given by these individual organizations which you are seeing on your screens. So let me read it out once again. What are those organizations? They are IEEE, IETF, ISO, ITU, and W3C. So these five. Okay. Now, who uses the network protocols? Obviously, the network protocols are used by the people who are inside the network, right? So billions of people use network protocols daily, whether they know it or not. So willingly or unwillingly, knowingly or unknowingly, we use these network protocols in our day-to-day life. Every time we use the internet, every time we use the internet, we use these network protocols. Okay, though they may not, though you may not know that how these protocols work, but knowingly or unknowingly, we are using or we are following the network protocols. Okay. Now, what are the functions of network protocols? Let us see. The functions of network protocols are communication and network management. So these are the primary actions or primary functions. Okay. These are some primary actions or primary functions. Communication, network management. Okay. So they help in communication, means they help to transfer the data or digital data from one device to another and help the devices to communicate with each other. And network management, how to manage the network. Okay. Now some, let us see some common communication protocols. Okay, common types of communication protocols include the following. Firstly, instant messaging, like we do instant messaging in our cell phones, right? They are text messages, instant messaging services, right? Then we have routing protocols. Sorry. Then we have certain routing protocols. Routing means, what is routing? Now, routing, my dear students, routing means forwarding the data. So routing protocols permit the communication between router and other devices. So as I had discussed in my previous class that routers help to transfer the digital data over networks. They are also routing protocols for ad hoc networks. Now what is ad hoc network here? Ad hoc network are those networks where internet is not involved. Though you have connected two devices but internet is not involved, there also router or routing protocols are being followed. Then Bluetooth, every Bluetooth device, headset, smartphones, computers work due to a variety of different Bluetooth protocols, right? So in your day-to-day life, you might have seen that, for example, you have connected your Bluetooth device or maybe a headphone, Bluetooth headphone you have connected with your mobile phone. Okay. So suddenly if you open your laptop, it also has a Bluetooth. So will it get connected automatically? No. The answer is no. The reason being that first you have to deattach or disable the connection between your mobile and your headphone, Bluetooth headphone, and after disabling that connection, only you can establish a new connection with your laptop, right? So these are a variety of protocols that even the Bluetooth devices follow. Then you have then you have sorry then you have a file transfer protocol, right? Then you have a file transfer protocol, FTP. So suppose you are moving some files from one device to another by physical medium or digital medium, you have to use the file transfer protocols, right? So file transfer protocol is what? Let me explain you that. Suppose you are copying a file. Suppose you are copying a file, or maybe you are moving a file, right? In between, suppose the device gets disconnected. So will the previous data remain or not? It will remain. Why? Because of the FTP protocols. It also comes under the FTP protocols. Suppose you are sending a file through an attachment in an email. That also follows the file transfer protocol or FTP protocol, right? Then you have the Internet Protocol or IP. IP allows the data to be sent between devices via the internet. The internet would not operate as it currently does without IP. Now, let us say you have to email your friend who is sitting at a distant place. Now, the question is that how will you know that what kind of device he is using, what kind of browser he is using, or what kind of network he is in, what is the address of his system or machine which he is using. So all these things, all these details are maintained by IP. So when you send some digital data from your cell phone, suppose you have sent a mail. So the mail is being attached with the IP address of the receiver. So when the mail goes to the internet, it looks for the IP address of the receiver. And when it gets the IP address of the receiver, it forwards the data it forwards the digital data or the email to that particular address. Now all these things which are being done, these all things follow this protocol known as the Internet Protocol or IP. So IP, as you can see, is the most important protocol that is being followed over the internet. Okay. Now let us see a few examples of network protocols. Okay. Let us see a few examples. Now one is HTTP. HTTP, right? HTTP is another protocol, as you can see. So whenever you use or open certain browsers, when you use a browser, in the address bar you might have seen HTTP. You might have seen HTTP double slash certain addresses which are being written, right? So this HTTP is one protocol which determines how data is transmitted over the internet. Now, this HTTP has one more version known as HTTPS. Okay, HTTP hypertext stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Now, what is HTTPS? HTTPS is this follows the same form, full form like Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and this S stands for secure. Okay, S stands for secure. So as compared to HTTP, HTTPS protocol is considered more secure in terms of digital data. Okay, now moving to the next one, we have SSH, secure socket shell. This is also one kind of network protocol. It is used by network administrators who need to manage the systems remotely. Okay, so suppose you have to manage, you are the network manager. Suppose you have to manage a system or a network which is in another city. So then you will use this secure socket shell or SSH protocol to manage these systems remotely, that is from one place to another place. Then you have short messaging service. This is also one protocol. Then you have MMS, that is also one protocol, an extension of SMS. So these SMS or short messaging service protocols enable the user to send and receive text messages over the cellular networks, right? Now this SMS can also include text messages, pictures, videos or multimedia. Now if it has multimedia, means if it has videos, if your SMS had videos or pictures, then it is known as a MMS, multimedia messaging service. And if it has only text messages, then it is known as short message service. I hope it is clear, students. Then the next thing that we must approach or see, that what are network topologies. Okay, network topology is nothing but the arrangement of your devices. Okay, now network topology, as you can see on your screens, network topology refers to how your various nodes or devices are connected physically or logically in relation to each other. Means it can be placed at anywhere, right? Different devices can be placed at different ways, in different ways. So each way has their own advantage and disadvantage according to their connectivity and security. Okay. Now, as you can see on your screen, students, these are the different types of network topologies. You have bus topology, you have hybrid topology, you have tree topology, you have mesh topology, star topology, ring topology, etc. So all these topologies, my dear students, all these topologies, what do they do? They are nothing but the various arrangements. They are the various arrangements in which you can arrange your networks. Okay. For example, let's see the ring topology. Okay. Let us see the ring topology. What does it mean actually? The ring topology is like this. Suppose here will be a device network. Here will be a computer. This is PC 1. Then connection with this, you have another computer, you have another PC 2. Let's say this is PC 2. Then you have another device or another computer named PC 3. Then you have another device named, let us say, PC4. Like this, if you create such a network, it is a ring, right? It forms a ring, as you can see. So this is one computer, this is the first computer, this is the first computer, this is the second one, this is the third one, this is the fourth one. So all these computers, my dear students, this is one computer, this is one computer, this is one computer, this is another computer. So as you can see, this is a different arrangement, right? This is a different arrangement, and these different kind of arrangements are known as topologies, right? You have also, we can connect it like this. These two computers also can be connected. So this also becomes a different topology, right? So various kind of topologies are there, right? Various kind of topologies, network topologies are available, and they give you greater degree of connectivity and security. Okay. Now, why is it important? Why the network topology is important? The layout of your network is important for several reasons. Above all, it plays an essential role in how well your network functions. Okay. Now see, choosing the right topology for your company or maybe your organization can increase performance while making it easier to locate faults. That means, suppose you have suppose this kind of network topology. This is a ring topology, right? This, my dear friends or students, this is the ring topology. Now suppose this one goes bad. This PC gets damaged. This PC gets damaged. So in the ring topology, it is very easier to determine which device got damaged, and if it has any damage, then it can be replaced and restarted again. Right. So it is easier to communicate and easier to locate the faulty devices. Okay. So that is why the network topologies are very important. Then they can they can also effectively allocate resources across the network to ensure optimal network health. So having the right topology means, suppose there are multiple devices and all devices need to connect with each other, right? So then you can use, suppose, mesh topology, as it is given here. As you can see in the diagram, every node is connected with other node, right? Then you have ring topology. In ring topology, as you can see, this PC2 and PC4 are not connected directly. They don't have a direct connection. In the same way, PC1 and 3 don't have a direct connection. They are indirectly connected to each other, right? So that depends upon you what kind of network topology or what kind of connection or what kind of setup you want in your network, right? It depends upon person to person. Now, which topology is best for your network? See, there is no perfect answer to this, as because different persons have different kind of usage, right? Different persons have different kind of usage, they have different kinds of needs, they have different kinds of geographical locations where every setup is not possible. For example, if you have a very small area, then having a hybrid topology is not possible. In a very small area, hybrid topology will not be possible, right? Why? The reason being that, see, in hybrid topology, you have two different kind of networks. This is the first network, as you can see on your screens. This is the second network. So if you have a very small area, then it is not possible to place all the devices at one place. So this will fail. So either you have to go for bus topology or maybe you have to go for a ring topology, right? So that is what I'm trying to say, that no topology is perfect or even inherently better than others. So determining the right structure for your business will depend on the needs and size of your networks. So what is the area you want to cover, right? So many factors come into place when we have to decide the best network. So these are the four factors. First is length of the cable, cable type, cost and scalability. Let us go into these one by one. First is cable length. Now cable length, generally if you have a very large network, then cable length will be more work it will require to set up. So the bus and star topologies are on simpler side of things. They are lightweight. whereas mesh topology are much require much more cable. Like, see students, I can explain it through this example as well. So suppose this is the ring topology, okay? So here if you are to connect, you don't need much wires. The length of the wires is very less. But suppose if I change it to a mesh topology. So for changing it to a mesh topology, I need to connect these two and as well as these two. So when I've connected all these two, the length of the wire increase. The number of wire required earlier it was 4, now it became 6, right? 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, then this is 5 and this is 6. This is 5 and this is 6. As you can see in this screen, number of according to the network topology, the size of the cable or the length of the cable had to increase. So that is why cable size or cable length plays a very important role. Next comes cable type. Okay, so see, we can there are various types of cables available in the market. So coaxial and twisted pair cables use insulated copper wiring, right? So these coaxial and twisted pair cables are generally bit less costly as compared to fiber optic cables. Okay, now what are fiber optic cables? Fiber optic cables are made from thin plastic, pi-level plastic or glass tubes. Okay, so they are far better and reliable. But the only thing is that fiber optic cables can transfer, they are high performing, they can transfer data at a very faster speed than the other two coaxial and twisted pair cables. But the only problem with this is that they are very costly in nature, means they are very expensive to install. So here from this point comes the next point, that the cost. So simply creating a network or having a topology is not a very good thing. First of all, you need to consider various points in your mind, that okay, what kind of network do I need? Okay, this is the first question, what kind of network do I need? Then secondly, you must consider that how much length of wire do I have? What is the length of wire that I am going to have? Then according to the length of wire, you will make your setup. Am I correct? So if you are planning, if you are giving a planning ahead, that okay, I have 4 computers, for that I need, suppose for example, let's say 10 meters of wire or 20 meters of wire, then the thing can be pre-planned. Okay, and then you can have a proper costing, and you can do it at a lesser cost than others. So determining the right topology for your needs, and then we have to make a balance between the installation and operation costs. So maintaining the cost is very important. Otherwise, you will end up spending lots and lots of money where you will not gain anything. Okay. So what I would suggest is that better we should select our network topology, which will be best depending upon the number of devices, and after selecting the number of devices, only then we should see the length of the cable, how much will be required, then the type of cable which will be beneficial or which will be economic for us, and after that we must determine the cost before going into physically setting up the network. Okay, and lastly we must consider one more thing, that is scalability. Now what is scalability? Scalability means the data, means the range. Actually, scalability means range. When the data is sent from one node to another, it has to take the shortest distance to the destination, right? So, the web structure of mesh topologies offering two round methods, routing and flooding. Okay, so scalability is one more important factor which plays a very important role. Okay, so considering these 4 factors, scalability means how scalable or how wide your network will be, right? So What I would suggest is that you should consider all these four factors. Scalability means how large your network will be. The cost should be kept in mind. The cable type is very important, as because you don't want your data to get lost in between, right? So you have to use the best of the best cables. And lastly, you must consider the length of the cable needed. So if you consider these 4 points, my dear students, then you can select that which topology will be best for your own personal network. Okay, so let us go through these things once again. What is a network protocol? Network protocol is what? It is a set of well established rules that are being followed in a network for transferring digital data from one place to another. Now, who develop these protocols? These organizations, the IEEE, IETF, ISO, W3C, these organizations help to establish certain network protocols. Okay. Now, who uses these protocols? We, the general public, or the users of the internet, follow the or use the network protocols. Okay. Now, what are the functions of network protocols? There are two functions: communication as well as network management. To manage the network and communication between various nodes or devices. Now, what are the examples? The examples of network protocols. The first one which we had discussed is HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. One another version of HTTP is that HTTPS. So HTTPS stands for HTTP Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. Okay, Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. So this is one step ahead, or it provides additional security as compared to HTTP. Where does it appear? If you go to the address or search bar of any website, you might have seen this in the URL part: HTTP double slash and then a colon sign. So this is one network protocol. Then you have SSH, Secure Socket Shell. You have SMS. These are some examples of network protocols. Okay, now what are topologies and why are topologies important? So as I explained, that topology is nothing but the way of setting up your devices according to your convenience. Okay, so these are the different types of network topologies. We have six type of topologies given here: hybrid, bus, ring, star, mesh, and tree topologies. Now going to the last part: which topology is best for your network? So for answering this question, you need to have in mind these 4 points. So firstly, you need to keep in mind what is the length of the cable that you're going to need. Then what is the type of cable that you're going to use, and depending on the type of cable, your cost will vary. Suppose if you're using twisted pair or coaxial cable, your cost will not be much. But instead, if you are using a different kind of optical fiber cable, then your cost will be high. And lastly, scalability. Does it follow scalability? Means how large area will it cover? Okay. So if you consider these 4 points, then only you can choose the best topology for your network. Okay. So with this, we come to the end of today's lecture. I hope you all have understood, and please go through the video. I hope to meet you all in the next class. Okay. And then we shall discuss more about networks. Thank you.